So I was driving today and thinking, do my best thinking when I'm driving. And it dawned on me, I was thinking about Her Cowgirl Strength, and it dawned on me that what my why is, why this is so passionate to me to highlight these women who are stepping out into male roles in the Western world, that are grinding it out every day. And it's because it kind of happened to me in the 90s in bodybuilding. Um, give you a brief synopsis of the 90s till now, as quick as I can. Um, I was always kind of thin, like a size 8 or 10. And after my third son in 1990, I did lose some of the weight and then ballooned up within a couple of years to a very tight size 18. And that's a whole nother video on its own. But one day I got sick and tired of being sick and tired and started changing my diet. Like I said, I didn't know what to do because it had never been a problem before. So started changing how I was eating and started moving. Got on a treadmill every day. And awesome, lost all the weight and got back to a size 10, but it was not a cute size 10. Everything still jiggled. My thighs jiggled, my butt jiggled, just like when I was fatter. So I went to a small gym and got the owner there, Ivory Lofton of Body by Ivory in the south suburbs of the Chicago area, where I'm from. And he explained to me that if you don't tone the muscles and lift weights, that you will just come down a smaller version of what you were, which is what happened. So we started lifting weights. He trained me for a few months, and he mentioned that a female bodybuilding competitor was coming in, that she was like 2 months away from a show and wanted him to tweak her diet plan and do some pre-contest training type of workouts, which are different. And I was excited. I wanted to see this woman. So I came in when she came in so I could see this woman up close, because my husband at that time, we for years had watched Mr. and Ms. Olympia on TV. It used to be on regular TV, and that's the highest bodybuilding competitions, professional bodybuilding competitions, and was always amazed by what these people did. And now, having gained weight, lost weight, built muscle, I was amazed at what the body could do. So I really wanted to meet this woman in person. She came in to work out. I'm watching her. She didn't look anything like the women on TV. So afterwards, I talked to Ivory about, I thought she was doing a show. And he said, yes, it's a local show and it's her first contest and she's not on steroids. So that intrigued me. And I said, well, I'm not too far from her, not too much further away from her. Couldn't I do a show? I had never been an athlete, but this got my attention. And he just matter of fact said, no, you have a family. This isn't for you. I am not used to being told no, to be honest. I was the oldest in my family, the only girl, and I was the first granddaughter on both sides of the family. So that wasn't a common word to me. A little while later, I was in a vitamin store and there was a flyer on the window about a local bodybuilding show at the community college. So I decided I would go. I didn't know, I learned that bodybuilders compete twice a day. In the morning is the real competition, where you're battling out and they're moving you around, asking for different poses. I went to that part by myself and just really liked it. And then I took my 3 sons, I had 3 boys under the age of 10. I brought them there at night. And what I later found out was that the award they gave out that night was Excalibur swords, which was not common in the 90s. It typically was like a gold figurine of a bodybuilder posing. So I told the boys when the women came out and did their posing, I said, that's what mommy wants to do. I want to get muscles and flex my muscles. And my oldest one asked, are you going to get a sword? I said, well, I'm going to try. And like in unison, they all were like, do it. So that's how that started. I told Ivory the next day on Sunday, my oldest one played Pee Wee football, and Ivory's son also played Pee Wee or whatever the next age group is called, but he was on the same league as my son, and he's several years older. So as we were leaving, Ivory and his son were coming. I stopped Ivory in the parking lot and told him I had been to a show the day before, and he just paused and looked at me. You been to a show? I said, yeah. He said, how'd you find out about the show? I said, it's on a flyer, so I went. You went to a show by yourself? I said, yeah. Okay. I said, so I really want to do this. He's like, you're serious? I said, yeah, I'm serious. So we started training. I did several competitions, 5 there, and did get to a show like that was giving out the swords, and won 2 swords. So it was interesting because as I was training, the women were coming up to me and asking me very personal questions about, you have 3 kids and you got your stomach down. I was known as the ab lady to my fellow competitors and to the judges. I'll let you see by my pictures. So the women were asking me personal questions about what to do with cravings, and they wanted a woman to train them. And I told Ivory, because this happened several times, and he said no. They like to look at muscly guys. I said no, they actually don't. So I did start working there. There were times where guys would come in and they didn't want me to train them, and then I would have to hurt them. But I trained there for 5 shows. I moved and I trained myself at another gym. It was a hardcore gym. It was known to have guys using steroids there, and a lot of blue collar guys that would come in straight from work. I was close to a contest, and you can't miss anything. You have to do your exercises, you have to do your routine, and can't switch and do it a different day. So I'm there in the evening, and it's my chest day, and I need to get into the holy grail, the free weight dumbbell area. And in the 90s, women, there weren't a lot of gyms at that point, and the women just went in and did the classes, used the treadmill or the stepper. The stepper was very big in the 90s. If they did weights, they did the machines that were already preloaded, but not the free weights, not the bars on the squat rack, not the dumbbells and the benches. I did, and I needed them. There were 3 guys standing there by a bench that I needed, and the gym bags in hand. They had just come from work, boots on, and just talking. Nobody's touched a dumbbell. Nobody's dressed to work out. And I went over there and said, are you using this bench? Can I use it? Looked at me like I had landed from somewhere. And they said, yeah, we're using it. No, you're not. So I went and did several other exercises. I did probably about 6 exercises on chest in a night anyway. So did several other. But I needed to get over there. And they're still standing there, had not moved. It had easily been 15 minutes. And not even picked up dumbbells like we're just going to work out in our street clothes. Nothing. So shouldn't have to do this, but I did. I went in the gym, in the locker room, and I was wearing a baggy t-shirt, so I took it off, and my shoulders were already in, my abs were in, I had a pump on my chest, came out in just my sports bra and pants. This is before girls were half naked in the gym, and walked straight up to them with my hands on my hips because it makes your shoulders pop out more, and said, "Are you still using this bench?" "Oh, no, okay, you can have it." Had to prove myself. Shouldn't have to do that. Anyway, 2016, I moved to Houston, Texas. Went to the big Houston rodeo in 17 and thought, wow, you gotta wait a whole year for this again? This was so great. And found out, no, you don't. There's local rodeos almost every weekend somewhere around. So I was in heaven. I loved the rodeo. I had watched it as a kid whenever it came to town. And so I'm trying to find out, where do you find out about these? So I get on Facebook, I'm looking up, trying to find rodeos, come across Cowboy World. It's a group on Facebook, and they post all the flyers for the local rodeos. Nowadays, they're bigger. They've got more members, and they post flyers for several states. But at that time, I was just, if there was a rodeo, an hour, no more than an hour and a half, I was going. I went to rodeos probably 2 or 3 times a month. And, well, it could be a rodeo, could be a bull ride, could be a jackpot roping. I was there. I was going. And this obsession wasn't new. When I competed in bodybuilding, I went to every single local contest as well. This isn't that new, but just different gears. So it wasn't until maybe a year ago, 2 years ago maybe, I saw a ranch rodeo. A year ago, I saw a woman's ranch rodeo. Whole nother level. I did not know, because in rodeos, the only women in the rodeo are the barrel racers. So I did not know women did that kind of stuff. That they would rope a steer, a couple of them would jump down and wrestle it to the ground, and no hesitation. And these are little women. They're not big burly women. And come to find out, again, what I didn't know, they do this on a daily. Work with cattle or break horses that are untouched, train them so people can ride them. Women farriers that work on the horses' feet, on their hooves. There's a lot of women doing stuff in the Western world. I had no clue. Furthermore, being from the Midwest, I would go in a grocery store and buy a couple pounds of hamburger. Had no clue how it got there. Did not know there are still cowboys and cowgirls working cattle every day. There are some women that go to big ranches that have thousands of cattle, and they're called, I believe they're called day workers, and they go there and work, especially during busy seasons when they have to wean the calves separate the calves from the mamas, and different times of the year they're busier and they hire extra help. There's women that do that, and this fascinated me, and so that's where I'm coming from. That's why I am trying to highlight them, because yes, you do have your rodeo women, and now there are more women in the rodeo. There's the breakaway, they rope the cattle, and those women, like all athletes, you know, there's a certain upper echelon, and they get highlighted in magazines or whatever. But I wanted to highlight the everyday cowgirl, the woman that is out there doing things that maybe they've been told they couldn't, shouldn't, that have stepped out and tried it, or women that are breaking through and being the first in their position. So I hope you find these stories inspiring, whether you're in the Western world or not. I want you to be able to take that chance yourself. If you're thinking about doing something that is out of the box, that's out of the norm, that maybe you've been told no. And I am Heather Cheeks. Stay strong.